I don't
There was a
understand it at all.
time where I would have had a chance where you had to sound like Dan Schulman and be like, "Newsy,
Yep,
wait,
the
are we
Dan
okay?"
Shulman time. Yeah, I think we're okay.
Okay,
I don't.
sorry, I
I
stopped.
David just gave me the thumbs up,
Okay,
which
then
I
yes,
think
there was a
means
time
we're
where you had to sound cool and custom, and now you can sound like me and still be employed.
Yeah, it does sound a little glitchy, but I think we're okay. I think we're gonna power through it. So Leafs lose in a game where, honestly, dude, they were great tonight. I really wanted to. I had a tweet in the drafts about how they kicked the Islanders' ass in their own game, but without TJ Brody and with their third stringer in net versus an All Star. And turns out the third stringer mattered, and he mattered at the worst moment. He tried to do. This is the thing, Eric Shalgren. He was actually having a fine night. He was making the saves that he needed to make. There was no bad moment. And then for some ungod known reason, he just decides to go out and play a puck, doesn't get back in his net in time to get set properly, gets burned. The Leafs are in overtime, and this continues to be the mystery of the season to me. Why the Toronto Maple Leafs can't be better at 3-on-3 overtimes? Like why they
No,
just look completely discombobulated and unable to play in them when their team seems like if you draft one team to be good at them, it would be them. Even still, I'm a little frustrated with this one because that was a goalie point. That was the first time this season where they truly did lose on a goalie point.
yeah, no, and then what's so funny today is if you read anything on the Leafs coming out of the weekend, it was like, well, actually, the everyone loves the well actually takes. The goalies have been good. The goalies are ninth. The goalies are third at 5-on-5. The goalies said it on our show. The Leafs have had surprisingly good goaltending, and they didn't get terrible goaltending tonight, but they just needed okay goaltending. They got that one goal against they didn't need that takes you to OT and costs you a point, and that's the way it's going to be when one of their starters is hurt, the other guy is half healthy at best. So that's part of the deal that the Leafs have made this year, and you can see it cost them one tonight.
Honestly, it kind of does feel like, I mean, everyone in the NHL is 500, so maybe they didn't really get away with the injuries to their goaltenders, but they kind of have been able to escape it without any type of disaster. Shalgren's had really two bad goals that have hurt them, right?
Yeah.
He had the one, I think it was against the Penguins. Maybe I'm wrong, but all these games are starting to blur together a little bit for me. But he had one that was horrific. That was on a turnover. I want to say Malgin.
It
That
was the Penguins. Now that you mention that, yeah,
Yeah, it was a
Both
turnover
third
by
time
Malgin
result.
and just leaky goal that goes through his side, and you go, "Come on, man, that's just one you got to have." I I saw some tweets kicking around from people going, "Are we sure Shalgren's bad during that game?" And that to me was a moment where I went, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure."
Like, thanks for the stats. I like the stats. I got to tell you. So, if we're done on Shalgren, can I turn the page?
Yeah, I actually have almost all positives other than the overtime thing. So do you want to do overtime first and kind of lump it all in one thing together, or you want
Well,
to?
I want to give you one overview take first because I did go to tonight's game for the first two periods.
Yes.
I came home with the second intermission, and I'm just reminded, just being there at the game, and Kipper's buddy took us, so we're like 7 rows up, behind the net, good seats, and just
You were reminded that Kiprios was rich?
reminded that Kipper's good, yeah. No, reminded that it's hockey and it's fast and the puck bounces and rolls and spins, and just how incredible it is to see it, and just be reminded. You watch it on TV and we see the patterns and the trends and all the typical things that players do. But it's like what Mitch Marner does in small spaces to maintain the puck and keep possessions going. Like first 8 minutes tonight or something where the Leafs were up 7-0 in shots and controlled the play, and he just circled around and had it. It's unbelievable. It is an unbelievable skill that he has that so few people on earth do. And, I feel that way about a lot of the guys. And then watching Pierre Engvall be 6'5" and that big and that fast and that ineffective. I know people think he played well tonight. I know. He's so frustrating. Like, if he would just have an ounce of just go, just act. You're an athlete. Like, he just exists on the ice, and he drove me crazy. That was just my being in person takeaways.
My takeaways from that is you're right. I don't think the Islanders got a shot until the 13-minute mark.
They
The
didn't even get
Leafs
to
did a
play.
great job. Exactly. They were not in that hockey game. I thought Mitch Marner was brilliant tonight. He was
Yeah.
truly one of the stories of the game. But also, you having watched the game with Kipper, I'm not really surprised that your take coming home was, who's this guy's not physical enough? And Mitch Marner's amazing. Like, tell me you watched a game with Nick Kiprios without telling me you
I
watched
didn't
a
sit
game
with
with
Nick.
Nick
I didn't
Kiprios.
sit with Nick in the first anyway. In the second period, I sat with him, not in the first.
All right. Was he texting you? Like, here's what you got to know. No, it's great. Honestly, if before we finish, just going back into this game, it's weird because doing this show has prevented me from going to more games, which I like to go to games. And it's weird not going and not having the little touch. And I know that one of my first nights off of the show is going to have to just be going to a Leafs game, which is kind of a toxic thing, but also something I need to be doing.
Yeah, we'll make that happen. We'll lean on Kipper, and Sam can do the show by himself one night.
Yeah, I agree. More Sam by himself shows, like that show where my video just stopped and he had to kill like 5 minutes by himself. Poor guy came back and he goes,
hell.
He goes, we can cut that from the video we post to YouTube, right? And they're like,
You were
yeah,
like,
sure.
no.
And I don't think they did. Okay, so last negative before positive, buddy. Can you tell me why this team can't play 3-on-3 hockey? Like, this is now becoming a pretty decent accumulation of points missed for a team that's supposed to be kind of built again to be able to do this.
I feel like, the thing about this team that we know to be true, the whole playing down to your opponent, but it's like when they think it's going to be easy, right? It's almost like it's OT, it's 3-on-3. So when you get the puck, you get to relax, right? Because that's how 3-on-3 OT looks. Guys circle and they have it and they get to have possession. The Leafs are like second in the NHL in possession time and 4,000th in the NHL in chances created, maybe a little bit higher than 4,000th, like they're 20th or something. But they love to just have it. And so 3-on-3 allows them to just have it and just circle about whatever. And instead of like get a chance, get to the net, try to create, maybe it just doesn't suit the mindset. I'm purely hypothesizing here, but at this point, I think even the coaches would just be throwing things at the wall, being like, I don't know, what do you think?
I mean, Nylander was genuinely hilarious in overtime.
Nylander's an amazing hockey player, but OT, yes, that was something.
This is not an indictment of Nylander. It's so funny. Everyone criticized Nylander so harshly for so long that now people are like, if they're going to criticize him at all, they're like, he's great, but
he's great.
He did a bad thing.
It's like a compliment sandwich at all time. Love Nylander. Love Nylander. He made a mistake. Love the guy.
Because I think that people just automatically get their ears up and go, wait, is someone about to make fun of Nylander? I must defend. And you go, just relax. It can be one moment, one thing. Overall, again, thought the team tonight was great. The overtime period was not so great. And you just knew that, hey, Sorokin is likely going to make a save here, and your guy is likely not. That's the way that it played out. And so
that was the Zegras goal, by the way, was it not? The exact play. Zegras coming down under pressure, left side, left shot, far glove, high.
Game over.
Game over.
So now for the positives. You mentioned it. They came out and they did the start on time thing. They looked awesome. And once again, I want to, this is more your domain as a guy who was a video coach, but I am so impressed by the way the forwards get back and help clog up the middle of the ice and just turn over their opponent just time and time again. And like, if I'm going to continue to hyper focus on Mitch Marner, how many times did he do it tonight where Islanders would try to get something going and then all of a sudden Mitch Marner's in somebody's hip pocket and lifting the stick and taking the puck away from them and breaking out the other way. Matthews did it tonight. Nylander did it tonight. Just every single line had moments where some pest wouldn't let the Islanders go to the middle unless it's kind of like a broken, weird play. And then the Islanders normally would look a little discombobulated in those moments because they hadn't had any feel for it basically the entire game. And the Leafs just, what an amazing job they're doing right now as a team to lose TJ Brody and to have Eric Shalgren in net and basically dominate a team to the point where like they gave them really no sense of hope until Shalgren created one for them. this is one of the most impressed I've been with the Leafs all year. Maybe the most
You
impressed
can
I've
make
been
the
with them all
case it's
season.
the best game of the year for sure.
Yeah.
Like even like I get some numbers from Sport Logic after the game in terms of like expected goals for them versus the opponent. They were through the roof. Like they deserved 2 points tonight. Whatever the deserve to win-o-meter was, they certainly had it. But
They big
watching
time
them,
deserve a win-o-meter.
yeah, watching them in the offensive zone, the way they cycle back to F3, as in like, they're getting on the puck in the forecheck and in the pile, but whoever's not the guy around it was just so diligent at getting back above. Like they always had 3 guys above the Islanders. So anytime the Islanders were in a breakout, it never felt like they had any speed going at the Leafs D, which is good because the Leafs D are not, they're hurt. They don't have, obviously Muzzin's gone and Brody wasn't in. Riley was missing for a portion of the game. That's a bit of a storyline to watch here with them. But yeah, you're right. It is, Keefe has been praising their defensive play, and I think justifiably so. They don't look as exciting as they have in past years, rush-wise, but they look like a hockey team that could play playoff hockey. We're looking for what's different. It's like I could see how that could be more effective, that style.
I told McKee that I was really going to try and avoid on this show doing massive, wide sweeping, big picture takes, but it is genuinely how I feel, man. I've told you the league to me feels really watered down this season, and having a group that's got a lot of, consistency within the group, that's been with this coach for a while, that has played in a bunch of tough series and had a bunch of tough breaks. I do think that the thing that has been probably the most underappreciated element of, can Sheldon Keefe coach, can he not, is that there really does seem to be buy-in from the group defensively. And yeah, we can quibble with the 5-on-5 scoring, and I will. And I've been sitting on this for a while, and I talked a little bit about you and Real Kipper and Bourne when I hosted on Friday, how, they're one of the teams that's played the most minutes 5-on-5 and the worst 5-on-5 scoring teams. But I still feel like they, night in, night out, since the slump, have been the better team. And all of a sudden, it really does set up a pretty interesting game against New Jersey, because that's the only time, other than Vegas, the only time a team in their conference has thumped them. Yeah, has looked better and thumped them and deserved to win against the Leafs. So I'm really excited for this game Thursday, the way that they're playing. Speaking of the blue line, shout out to Timothy Liljegren, because he did the thing tonight that they don't get enough of. The Islanders have 16 goals this season from their blue liners, and they get one where they clap it early off of, David Kampf, and it's an ugly goal and it goes in the back of the net, and you go, God, that sucks. But nobody on the Leafs does that. And Morgan Riley doesn't score goals, and we've been pretty frustrated this season with his indecision when it comes to making plays towards the net. Giordano does it. Giordano does it at times. He'll filter through a wrist shot, but there's no heavy shot from the blue line other than Liljegren. And guess what? He steps in one tonight. It's a shot pass. Matthews, who can't score 5-on-5 to save his life, gets a tip, gets an ugly one. Just thought it was a really nice moment for the Leafs.
I totally agree with that. It's nice to have someone who feels like that's a part of their game. They might shoot it. Hall at best might try to sift one through. Same with, I agree. I do like that. I also wonder if this could be a jump start, a little bit of a kickboard for Matthews, who actually tipped in a lot of pucks last year. You don't get to 60 by just shooting it through guys off the rush. He made a lot of deflections and found ways to get a lot of different kind of goals. I know he has a tip earlier in the season, but, I would say the most common conversation I have off air with Leafs people is what's up with Matthews? Guys on pace for 40 goals and whatever, but I think there is some sort of consensus that he doesn't quite look as dynamic. I don't know. Maybe that's just a pure perception thing, but
no,
I feel
man, it's real. It's just people are afraid to criticize him because he's Austin Matthews.
Yeah, you don't want to have an all-star and criticize him. It looks
well. It's not even that. It's that if you have half a brain, the thing about a regular season, if you've been doing this for a while, is that regression works both ways. There's regression to the mean both ways. So if you get too hot
games in a minute or better,
if you get too hot with a Matthews take, you're gonna look like an ass, because he's gonna have a stretch he'll have a February where it's just, is Austin Matthews the best goal scorer of his we're going to have one of those again.
12-goal deficit and win the Rocket.
Yes. So that's all it is.
Yeah, for sure. So I wonder if something like this can't be for him what he needed. A bit of a freebie, nice little tip. get things rolling a little bit for him, because he does need a little kick in the pants right now.
Yeah, he does. And guess what? You're right. He's not scoring all of his goals last season by just ripping them. Those are the ones that we remember the most. It was just good that 5-on-5, he kind of stole a page from Michael Bunting's book, which is, hey man, just go to the net. And like I said, it was nice to see a guy who wasn't afraid to put it on net in Liljegren, who just doesn't seem to hesitate like some of their other blue liners who will do the same. His counterpart,
his partner.
Yeah, see, we're going there. Oh, hell yeah. I tweeted this already, that I said good for Sandeen, but that's one of the funniest things I've ever seen. We gotta roll this clip as we're talking about it, David. David Siss, who, by the way, revealed to me tonight that he's a Montreal Canadiens fan, which
that was a tough bounce.
Yeah, it was. He just puts on a toque in front of me. Okay, so this is why I think this is so funny. If we could just even start it again. It's not that he gets his ass kicked, because he knew that going into the fight. I just thought how funny it must have been in his brain seeing Matthews get the knee on knee and knowing he was the closest guy to the action.
Like, oh, come on.
Yeah. And just going, he has a little moment where he kind of freezes looking at the play. Like if you watch it happen and then you see him come into frame and you see like what his face looks like as he realizes what is happening. See, look at him here. This is the perfect shot.
He doesn't even really.
He's like, he sees it and he's like, and he goes to him right away, but he doesn't want to take his gloves off. And then he kind of just like paws at him like a younger brother would. Like, please don't hit me in the face.
Do you know how big Oliver Wahlstrom is? Wahlstrom's 6'2", 210. He's punching downhill at Rasmus.
Yeah, hard. And then he kind of like judo flips Ronda Rousey style Rasmus on his head, and he just kind of goes and plunks it. He eats some ice on that play. Anyway, again, kudos to Rasmus Sandeen for sticking up for his teammate. I do kind of wonder if when it's that big of a mismatch, if somebody like Matthews looks at it and goes, hey man, like you don't need to do that. you don't need to do that one. Maybe not you, but yeah, good for Sandeen, but also look at his face. It's just,
was that the ice or was that fist? Was that at the end, or did he
I think that's both, Justin. I think that's the fists and the ice combining for a very red-faced Rasmus Sandeen. Anyways.
It's going to look awesome. He got the stick up for Matthews, Too good, kids. He's okay.
He'll probably, do they give out that championship belt in losses?
No.
Yeah, too bad, because
they should.
Yeah, maybe give him one. Even there, it feels like the ref is like holding him up going, are you okay, son? Like
the worst part though is like they did get face to face at the end, and I hope Sandeen wasn't like, yeah, don't do that to Matthews. Like, you don't get to talk trash.
I can assure you he did not. I can assure you that was the referee and Wahlstrom going, hey, we good?
Touch gloves. Everyone go back to your corner.
Can you skate to the box on your own power, or are you going to need some assistance, or one of those things where they teach you how to skate, those little pusher things that he's going to possibly need getting to the box? That was a tough one for Sandeen. Yeah. What else stuck out to you in this?
I think I may have to walk back some Malgin takes at some point. Like, I was really, not that he was like unbelievable tonight, but I think he's really shown that when he doesn't score, he can still be a part of that fourth line defensively. Like, he's responsible. And, that's something. Initially I was like, okay, what does this guy do if he doesn't score? Because he's, this one-dimensional guy. I don't think he's as one-dimensional as I thought he was. I think he's able to get on the right side of the puck pretty often. And like here on that exact play we just showed, Aston Reese and Camp both pull out right away. And Malgin is like, no one's going to pressure the puck. Okay, I'll go pressure the puck. And so it looks like he's caught in an awkward spot. But what it is to me is he's a compliment to that line, because everyone can't pull out every time. He's something different that like allows Aston Reese and Camp to do more offensively. They at least have someone to chase the puck and flush it out. I don't know. I liked him. I like him. Welcome
to the club, the Mal gang, as I will now call them.
Mal is French for sick.
He has a couple of tough moments just about every game, and Yeah, much like the turnover that I referenced on the other bad Shalgren goal against Pittsburgh, there are those times where it feels like he's trying to do just a little bit too much.
Yeah.
But it's hard because I think that's just the risk reward you get with a player like that, which is, hey, once in a while, that's going to bite you in the ass. But I think overall, the Malgin experiment has been a very good one. And like the Nick Robertson conversation continues to be a thing. I know Keefe doesn't want to talk about it. I personally don't even want to spend that much time on it right now because I think that we've kind of drilled our take home, which is, hey, play the kid. Good on Holmberg tonight. Drawing a penalty, I guess. That was his most notable play of the night. I thought the third line actually did have some good moments, like Ball and Pontus, and like they were fine tonight. Everybody was good. Like it's hard to pick out a Leaf tonight and say this guy played poorly, but still no scoring down the lineup, and it just like somebody get one. Like just feels like when they don't score on the power
scored the goal before, but he threw a couple muffins at the net tonight that were just so non-threatening. It's like, oh.
Well, his miss is what broke out the play that ends up in the back of the Leafs net on the second or the game time goal. Last thing for me anyway in this game is my like Leaf fan came out a little bit tonight when Tavares scored against the Islanders on the power play. I just went, yes. I like knowing that people on the island are pissed about that still.
Someone yelled pajamas in the crowd tonight at him, and I was like, really? Pajamas? Yeah. He was a Leafs fan. He lived in Toronto. Okay.
It's a very strange thing. I get hating on a guy who left. I hate on Kawhi, and he won a championship here. And I say that the biggest regret he should have is leaving Toronto. And I genuinely believe in my heart that he's kind of a loser for going to the Clippers when he had an awesome run it back experience. Like it's just very anti-sports, very anti-basketball. Like if you've ever played pickup, it's called King's Court for a reason. Like you win till you lose. And Kawhi was the only guy that was like, I won, but I'm a good. I just wanted rather go play with my friends down the block where it's friends. Yeah. Anyway, so
it's so that's warm where he lives.
Yeah, it's my controversial-ish Kawhi take. It's kind of aged well because he just like doesn't play basketball anymore. He's always like, I'll play maybe next game. It must be so frustrating. But yeah, I get sports hate. I'm a big sports hate guy. There is a bite to the Tavares thing that has always felt a little different to me. Have you ever seen the video of the Islanders fan that's next to the box when he's in it, who's just like screaming at him about how he should have told them he was leaving and that they could have got something for him? And it's really vile. Anyway, do you feel like you're kind of my Long Island representative as, Long Island royalty? Do you feel like that's just calming down? You think that ever calms down? It just,
I don't know. I've tried to make the comparison to Vince Carter before. I know it's not exactly bang on, but like when the guy
Vince was much worse, much.
Right.
Infinity worse.
But so my comparison then is that Vince is being welcomed back, even though smart sports fans or whatever you want to call them are not over it or not welcoming him back. He's getting applause at Scotiabank Arena, like the organization seems to be welcoming this guy back because of what he did. And that hasn't happened in Long Island yet, on Long Island, if you will, and it will eventually. But right now, no. Everyone you talk to there is still like, screw that guy. And it kills me. He played 9 years there. He was the captain. I mean, he was part of like a really big thing. And it just like, he broke their heart and they won't forgive him. And I know that even people like, my father-in-law before he passed, like they were like, no, they should boo him, He left here and left the organization in a worse spot.
See, but I respect booing. Booing is fine. Like I said, there's just an added touch of viciousness to Tavares. Maybe I'm being soft. Maybe I am. Maybe that's just Long Island where they're tougher fans than what I'm used to here in Toronto, where it's a lot of coddling and people being mad at the media for saying anything or fans for saying anything in person. But I do think that the Vince Carter thing is he lasted for a very long time. And eventually when you start to get older, you start to get a little bit more sentimental and a little bit more forgiving. And so to me, a lot of those Islanders fans, what I think will happen is when Tavares is in his, 14th, 13th season in the league, people are going to start to go, it's time to forgive John because the takes are going to start to dry up. And hopefully for him, he gets a propaganda piece on Netflix like Vince Carter got with Raptors fans right before his retirement, where everyone went, he didn't even want to leave, you guys. Yeah. It was a big misunderstanding. It was all just a bad kerfuffle. And really who you should be blaming is the GM that went away and never was heard from again. Like, that's who it's all about.
The Players Tribune is going to be knocking down Tavares' door, willing to provide a platform.
Yeah, except for you'll know it's ghost written if it's anything more than, I liked hockey and I loved the game and I played it to the best of my ability. And then the editor of the Players Tribune is like, what do you want me to do with this exactly? I gotta get a few thousand words out of this, Johnny. Like, you gotta give me a little bit more than that. My uncle was a real inspiration to me. Like, okay, that's another like, I don't know what you want to do. I got it. I'll figure this out. Anyways, it was nice to see Tavares score, and it's nice to see him stick it to the Islanders, even though they ended up getting that win. Anything else for you?
No, I think we've done a nice wrap here on that one.
Yeah, I think this was a nice wrap as well. Again, subscribe to the podcast, leave 5 stars on iTunes, follow Bourne and I on Twitter and Instagram at JD Bunkis, at JT Bourne. That's at JD Bunkis, at JT Bourne. Oh, our stuff is up there. I think mine's the same for Twitter and Instagram, so you can do either of those things. You can get amazing takes, information, bets, everything. Anyways, Sammy and I will catch you for the Devils game. Possibly a little tipsy because Canada Soccer, it's after, so could be a very good Leafs talk on Wednesday night. I'm just saying, kind of must watch.
Boring. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. All right, we'll see you then. Thanks to David Siss. Thanks to Emily Savard. We'll see you then.